Good morning, logicians. Today I wanted to give a quick review over the standard categorical form and then talk about these Euler circles that you guys are going to be working on today. So if you remember what we've looked at so far in this standard categorical form, we've talked about how we can take any sentence in the English language and translate it into a sentence that has first a quantifier, all, some, or no, has a subject, which look at how ugly that S is. A subject, then our copula, our verb of being, and then our predicate, P, which importantly, we put emphasis on that it needs to be a noun or a noun phrase, that both the subject and the predicate have to be a noun. So a sentence like, the soldiers were brave fight, or the soldiers fought bravely, has to be translated to all soldiers were brave fighters. We have a noun on each side. What we saw was that using this standard categorical form, we have basically four kinds of sentences. We have all, SRP. This we called our universal affirmative because we're talking about the universe, all members of S, and we're affirming something of them. Secondly, no SRP, what we called our universal negative, because it talks about every member of S and is negating something about them. Third, some SRP. This we called our particular affirmative because it's only talking about some particular number of S, not all of them, and affirming something about that. And then fourth and finally, some S are not P. This we called our particular negative. It's talking about some particular amount of S and denying something about them. So I made the kind of bold claim that what we're going to be able to do is take any sentence in the English language and translate it into a sentence of one of these four types, like this. So we're going to focus on that a little more in future units. But what I want to do today is talk about how we can take each of these four types of sentences and visualize the relation between subject and predicate using what we are going to call Euler circles. So Euler circles are this nice little tool to help us be able to visualize what is happening. And the basic idea is this. I can draw a circle and have it represent a group. So this circle might represent all of the dogs. It's like this. And thus, every single dog is represented within that circle. Like this. So then I can draw other circles to show how these various relations between these groups, what the various relations are. So, for example, our first sentence, the first type, all SRP, not what I meant to do. Go away, keyboard. All SRP. So let's consider a sentence like this of type 1. Let me erase my circle there. And then consider this sentence here of type 1. All hounds are dogs. So how might I illustrate that using our Euler circles? So what I have is I'll have a circle here. This will be all of the hounds. And then those will be within a larger circle. Here are the dogs. And so here I have a way to visually illustrate that all hounds are dogs by putting the circle with all the hounds within the circle of the dogs. So we have a way to visually illustrate. All hounds are dogs. Now, second one. What if I have a sentence like this? No dogs are cats. How might I illustrate this with the Euler circles? Well, in this case, I can draw two circles that do not overlap at all. All right, dogs over here and cats over here. And here I can visually illustrate that no dogs are cats. None of the dogs are cats. None of the cats are dogs. They do not overlap at all. Okay? These first two are relatively straightforward. Hopefully those are a little simple. Like this. But the third and fourth ones can be slightly more tricky with this. So our third one, if we're going to illustrate this, if we're going to consider this sentence, some dogs are four-legged animals. Well, the simplest way to do this, I think, would be to draw dogs and four-legged animals as a kind of like Venn diagram. So you draw one circle there, one circle there. We have our dogs, and we have our four-legged animals. All right, well, that seems pretty straightforward. But then what about this next sentence? If I was to draw, well, some dogs are not four-legged animals. This is our fourth kind of sentence. Well, it seems to do this, we might want to draw the same exact thing. We would simply draw a Venn diagram with dogs and four-legged animals. But here's the problem. Now we have two sentences. Some dogs are four-legged animals. Some dogs are not four-legged animals. And we're illustrating them the exact same way. So here is the small change we're going to make. So when I say that some dogs are four-legged animals, what I'm saying is that what I know for sure is that there are some dogs in this region. That there definitely are dogs that are four-legged animals. But remember, when I say that some dogs are four-legged animals, that does not imply, or that does not make it the case that some dogs are not four-legged animals. The same way that if I come in and say, look, some of you passed your test, that does not mean that some of you did not pass your test. Like this. So when I say that some dogs are four-legged animals, we know that this area in the middle, it has some actual dogs in it that are four-legged animals. But this part, where the dogs do not overlap with the four-legged animals, that we do not know. And so what we're going to do is to make this part a dashed section to represent that, look, we don't know if there really are dogs that are not four-legged animals. Given what we know, all we know is that at least some of the dogs are four-legged animals. And so we're going to put the section that we are unclear about, that we're unsure about, we're going to put that in a dashed section. And so for number 4, we're going to do just the opposite. When I say some dogs are not four-legged animals, well, what I know for sure is that there are some dogs in this section, but I don't know if there's any in the section where they overlap. So I'm going to, I don't know why my eraser is all of a sudden gigantic. I'm now going to make this a dashed line, like this. The part in the center, like this. So the dashed line represents the part of the circle that we are unsure about, like this. So given these 4 tools, this way that we can illustrate universal affirmative statements by putting the circle of the subject inside the circle of the predicate, that we can do universal negative statements by creating 2 separate circles, and then our 2 particular statements by making Venn diagram figures, but just altering which section we create dashed lines. Using these 4 images, we can easily kind of illustrate what these sentences are showing, and what we'll get to when we get to actually examining arguments, we'll see how using these illustrations will help us better understand how to actually use these illustrations to assess whether an argument is a good argument or not. So with your remaining time, what you have is 2 things that you can do. 1, there is an Euler Circles worksheet that should be handed out to you soon once this video is over. You should be able to complete that. I would say take maybe 5 to 10 minutes or so to do it on your own, and then maybe after that open up to work with a partner or something to compare answers, see how you're doing. Second, after you complete that, do the review exercises at the end of this second unit section, the review exercises over lesson 12. So at the end of every unit, there are a set of review exercises. Do the review exercises for lesson 12. And if you find for any standard categorical form statement, draw the Euler circle. So the book is not going to ask you to draw Euler circles, but I think it is a helpful tool that I'm adding to the book's material. So for any of them that you find in the review exercises, draw the Euler circle for them. Then on Thursday, we'll review over this stuff, make sure we feel comfortable with it, so that when we meet again on Friday, you can take a quiz, and that quiz will just be over lesson 12 and the Euler circle stuff. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me or reach out. Let me know on Thursday. We'll review over this stuff. But until then, work on these two things and be very good for the sub. Be kind, be generous, be loving, be kind. And I will see you all Thursday. I love you all. I will see you then.